'cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave.
Only but 1% knew this when I got on air 30 years ago, and we took that little important, amazing wave of people like Anthony Sutton and G. Edward Griffin and all the rest of these people, and we brought it in and it blew up, and they ignored it and act like it wasn't important, which was fine with me. CNN still pretended like they had bigger audiences than us. We had bigger audiences than CNN 20 years ago, folks. Back when they had a big audience. I mean, I was reaching tens of millions of people a day 20 years ago, 25 years ago, bitches. And so then they figure out what we did. And I was like, we're going to do this because I believe in humanity, freedom versus slavery, Great Reset versus Renaissance. I believed we'd win. And now we've come so far that they're so desperate that they sent in feds without court orders to close us in late May. And then we didn't get buffaloed and conned by that Jedi mind trick. So now we're here, and now this went on, and I looked at the tea leaves and the angles and said, well, they're in control of the infrastructure. They turned it off. I'm like, what you did's wrong. I believe it's not right. Check the law. Yeah, you're absolutely correct, cut and dry. And now it's up to a judge. Is he going to certify this thing? And I don't know. I mean, he was just trying to get the stuff off his desk. One judge, had to step down, Judge Jones, because of issues, and his plate got tripled. He punted on some stuff. But once he figured out what they were doing, he said, you had no authority to do this. And then when Murray, a month ago, the new guy tried to give my name up, Alex Jones was on there, and said he doesn't have a 13th Amendment, and real Alex Jones. The judge said, no. You can't do that. Take it off the thing, or we're going to have a whole trial on that, and I don't believe you're going to get it. So they withdrew that, and then just went into the auction, waited till a day and a half before, changed the rules, made it secret, said somebody with a lower bid can win. I mean, this is ridiculous. Anybody can figure that out. And so then I found out they didn't just pay less. They didn't send a wire. There's no contract. The judge said he had to certify it before it was agreed to. They just, get out of here, shut it down right now. Because they thought, just like they could make me leave the building and have armed security lock it up in May, late May, that people would just think, well, that's it. He just goes away. That is insane, ladies and gentlemen. That is completely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, bonkers, lunatic, nutball, over the top, ridiculous. And so that's where we are. That's what's happened. And so I want to be 100% clear. I believe this is illegitimate. I believe that in a real world, what we're watching is authority completely exceeded a million miles. And when you do that, like something like this, and this type of stuff goes on, it has a name. And so again, they think I'm so demonized that anything can be done to me, and through that done to you. And I believe in the people, and I believe the people see through this, understand this is part and parcel of all the giant power grabs and all the horrible things that have gone on. So I'm asking the listeners now, and you're doing it. I remember that. There it is. Sees my names. And it goes into it. My name itself. They said everybody knows you can't do that. But why not? Why not see if they get away with it? So I know you're going to share the live feeds. I know you're going to share the breakdowns. Somehow they killed the live or refeed of this morning. I hadn't been told yet to get out of here and all that stuff. And not a leg to stand on there. And now we have the archive of that. The last show at InfoWars potentially with Steve Bannon up on Real Alex Jones. Share that. You have the power. You override the AI. You send it on your email, text message list. Tell others to share it. Yeah, they're shutting this down. Something big's coming. Again, they got stuff planned in this country with false flags, the globalists, and all this stuff that they need us off the air. This is emblematic of their desperation, people. And now you've got to flex your muscles in word of mouth and prayer for myself and the crew and my family and everybody, and to stop World War III and for President Trump and to keep him alive and get him into office. And how many days is it till January 20th? We got to get those countdowns loaded, guys. We got to get those rebuilt. We got to get that up. I mean, how many days are we? 60 67? I mean, 66? I mean, I don't know. I can get a calculator out or a calendar, count it up. The point is, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. It's time. It's time to support us. It's time to get a T-shirt and be part of this and meet like-minded people. It's time to get some great supplements. It's time to buy a limited edition fundraiser poster. It's time at thealexjonestore.com so we can really go after these folks and stay on air and expand and add more hosts and more crew and just say, look, inauguration 66 days, 1,605 hours, 9,631 minutes. All right. Harrison, it's up to you guys. This is epic. What's going on? I'm going to stay here. I got a bunch of guests coming up, a bunch of things to get to. But I would imagine you and Owen want to come in here today, decide when you want. When I go off, like 4 or 5. And then I'm going to come back because this is an epic day. This is the day they jumped the shark. This is the day they screwed the pooch. This is the day they just absolutely all together snickering and giggling and hopping around like gremlins, or not like gremlins, thought that they had really, got the bad man. Well, guess what? People don't think I'm a bad man, and neither do I, because I'm a good man. But I'll tell you this, I'm not somebody that just rolls over, sweetheart. So that's where we are. Follow me on X at Real Alex Jones. Follow me on X at AJN Live for the Alex Jones Network. Do it now. Tell others follow it. They don't want you to have this information because they fear it. Harrison, spend 5 minutes, then I'm going to take over here. We've got Bannon coming on, so much more. Roger Stone, so many others coming on. But I just, in compendium about America, the world, this victory, what you make of all this, and what you think people should be praying for right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm praying a prayer of thanks for Elon Musk keeping X open. You can follow me at Harrison H. Smith. We would be screwed really without X, I think, because that has become such a big pillar of our network. And we built the alternatives like Band.video and Infowars.com, totally proprietary, but they took that through they took our social media, then they take our proprietary. Thank God for Elon Musk and X. What I think people need to take away from all of this is the understanding that this is tyranny. This is tyranny. It's not like tyranny. It's not approaching tyranny. This is how tyranny operates. People think, and I keep using this phrase, Americans think that if the troops aren't goose-stepping down Main Street, it must not be tyranny. They expect tyranny to look tyrannical, to look like Nazis or communists throwing salutes. No, it looks like fake rigged court cases. It looks like the legitimate process of the government. It has to. That's how tyranny has to at least start. Once they're fully entrenched, then they can start just doing things at a whim, with no concern. But especially in the beginning, tyranny always has to take on the appearance of legitimate process. It always has to have show trials. So when people look at it and they go, well, if you think what happened to Alex Jones is unfair, he had a trial. Look into the trial. Look into how it was carried out. Look into whether it was even a trial or not, because he was determined guilty, and then the jury was asked how guilty was he, and they decided $1.5 billion. It was absurd. This is what tyranny looks like. This is tyranny. This is how it encroaches on freedom. This is how it is exercised in the beginning. Eventually, it'll get to the point where they won't have to bother with doing show trials. But at the time now, there's still some remnant, some modicum of human spirit and liberty and concern for the future left in the American people. So they have to couch their tyrannical actions in the guise of legitimate judicial process. This is tyranny. This is what it looks like. That is, I think, needs to be the number one takeaway. And, you're talking about Willie Nelson. You're talking about the past of InfoWars. And it's been crazy to me to see the transformation that's gone on over the last 10 years, 12 years. I remember in 2012, I was living at 15th and Lamar. Right across the street was in Austin, Java. And InfoWars at the time had the magazine. And I'd go in the morning, and it would be a stack of magazines set up for free because you guys just handed them out. I'd take a magazine, I'd read it. I used to have a big collection. I must have lost them somewhere, but I used to have every edition. But I'd go in, that afternoon, or I'd go in the next day, and they'd all be gone. It was so popular. It was such a groundswell, common man sort of thing. Of course, Willie Nelson was into it. Of course, Dave Mustaine was into it. we were the counterculture. We are the counterculture. And that's the strange thing that's happened is in those 10 years, we have not changed our view. We have not altered our position. And yet the world around us has shifted to such a degree that we, the people who were formerly the champions, InfoWars, the champions of the underdog, the champions of the outsider, the champions of the Willie Nelson outlaw country Texan fighters, like the true representatives of rebellion, like that rebel spirit that founded America. We've somehow been transmogrified in the minds through the media, in the minds of the American people through the warped and dishonest media. We're now the fascists. We're now the Nazis. It's like we haven't changed. The whole world has shifted, and they've had to try to discredit and criticize us because they can't actually contend with our information. They have to censor us because their viewpoint, their worldview, only exists in a world devoid of argument, devoid of the alternative view, because their view fails in every regard, every single time. Our view wins because it's the right view, it's the natural view, it's the God-fearing view, it's the loving view. So they have to shut us down. They have to censor us. They have to misrepresent and caricature us, because we are the real deal. We have been the same. You have been the same. InfoWars has been the same since its founding, about human liberty, about opposing globalism, about nationalism, Americana, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Martin Luther King Jr. I mean, it's been such a privilege and an honor to be associated with InfoWars. And despite how they want to make people feel about it, the entire time that I've been at InfoWars, I have been unhesitant in telling people I work for InfoWars. People think like, and maybe sometimes if I'm getting my hair cut, maybe if someone's got blades next to my ear, I got to be a little careful about, they might be crazy, but people want to portray InfoWars as this horrible thing. Talk to the average person. Talk to somebody who actually knows who we are, who actually watches the show, who actually pays attention, and they know what we're all about. It's humanity, it's liberty, it's everybody of every race, color, and creed deserving their rights, deserving to have a say in the American experiment, and really an obligation to uphold these basic human rights that were left to us by our founding fathers. And again, this is the other thing you have to understand. They're not just trying to impose communism on us. They're trying to take us back to a pre-Enlightenment era of 1775 and before, because it was America that founded human rights. It was America that established democracy as a viable political concept. Now it's assumed. Now everybody everywhere in the world is like, yeah, of course people should have a say. That was America. That didn't exist before us, before George Washington, as Thomas Jefferson. And of course, they stood on the shoulders of giants as well, with the English common law, from the Magna Carta up to the English Revolution. I mean, there are steps. This is an incremental gaining of rights and diminishing of authority, unchecked and unquestioned, and gifted from on high to the king alone. No, it's been 1,000 years of civilizational development to get us to where we are now, and that's what's being torn away. That's what's being diminished. That's what's being really melted on purpose by these psychotic, tyrannical, despotic, censorious. I mean, what other words do we have for it? The enemy. I like to refer to them as just the enemy, because they're the enemy of humanity. They're the freedom, and they are the enemy of God. At the end of the day, who doesn't want to be a rebel? Who wants to be the empire? Who wants to be the bootlicker? Nobody does. Not me, at least. I'm proud to be the rebel. And what they don't understand is that they are, in a roundabout way, helping us to fulfill our fantasy of being the rebels, being the revolutionaries, and being a new founding fathers for a new age. God bless InfoWars. Follow me on Twitter @.
Now is the time to wear Trump gear. And we've got the best designs at the AlexJonesStore.com. You support the Second American Revolution. You exercise your free speech. You stand up to the bullies. You exercise your will. And it keeps this broadcast, if we're shut down next week, still on the air at the Alex Jones Network. It'll be on the radio, the TV, all the same stations. It's all set up. The crew, the studios, all of it, but we need more funds to ensure we're full power when we continue our assault. So you're literally in the information war, refueling the aircraft, loading the weapons, arming them. We've already got a lot of weapons loaded, but we need to be fully loaded when we take off, at maximum load for maximum attack when we do our attack runs in the information war. So We're on the tarmac right now, making sure everything's straight here. You need to go to the AlexJonesStore.com. A beautiful black shirt with an American eagle in gold says Trump won. Beautiful red hoodie. That people are going crazy over that. With white with Trump won. Today is your Independence Day, 1/20/25. Yeah, that's when we really have the Independence Day, when we keep him alive and he gets in there. That's great. So many new hats, all of it made right there in Arkansas. So you get this stuff quick. It's already being made right now. A lot of new Trump shirts and stuff. It'll take them weeks to get done. Not our sponsor. They're ready right now. So your order's in. The AlexJonesStore.com. So many amazing designs. The AlexJonesStore.com. And when you sign up at the AlexJonesStore.com/VIP, or just click at the VIP link at the top on the right-hand side that's in red, when you do that, you get $40 each month to spend in the store for $30. So if you're going to buy the great supplements, going to get the great Patriot gear, going to support the broadcast, you got to be VIP. It's month to month, $30, cancel any time. So if you're going to be a supporter, everyone should be a VIP.
Actually, you're right. Good to see you, Hannah. Pick your team.
Yeah! Woo!
It's your football team.
Yeah! InfoWar strong forever, baby. Want to fight New World Order? Got one now. In the InfoWar.
Good to see you, Hannah.
See that fist? It's been crushing you for 30 plus years. I'm just getting started. Stronger than ever. Smarter than ever. More friends than ever. More allies than ever. You want it? You got it. Love it. Woo! We just restart the song. I love that sound. Maybe loop that.
Yeah, loop that. YouTube won't care.
Fun stuff. Yeah, restart it from the beginning. That's great. I represent the InfoWar. I don't think I'm a bad ambassador. I'm okay. At least I'm real. Let's look at the front man they used to do this hijacking. You talk about a gremlin toad. Let's put the onion owner up.
Jody,
People are losers.
We can play them this week.
Total jokes.
They have some competition.
And the whole world is waking up to them really, really fast. And support's coming in. We thank you all. The more you support us, the more that information punch hits the enemy. Is that Brian Stelter's mini-me or something? Well, I know I'm not hiring him to be a babysitter. That's all I'm saying. Good God. Boy. Look at him. Look at him. Oh, my Lord. I'm about to have a heart attack. I'm having too much fun. We got Savannah Hernandez, amazing reporter, popping in next segment. Biba Fry, lawyer. Another Hernandez, no relation. Drew Hernandez, Roger Stone, Elijah Schaefer. I've got some clips of man, and I'm talking to him. He's going to get on. But Harrison, just other big stories breaking, because I mean, I'll be honest with listeners. You know, this is a big story. It's important. But people just know it's par for the course. As long as they support us, we're going to win. Other big news. I mean, this is just wild what's happening. They're so scared of Elon
the first
Musk
time when I logged back in,
Efficiency Bureau. And they'd be like, oh, it's not even the cabinet. It's not real. It's pathetic. No, the fact that it's not government from the outside as a watchdog is why they're so horrified. We cannot understate or overstate. We cannot overstate what a game changer Elon Musk has been.
Hello.
I mean, really, Trump won when he came on board.
Sir.
And we admitted election fraud, and Trump got money to be able to go after the election fraud. People gave it and stood up. And they tried to kill Trump. That was, totally cemented. The mug shot. Is Trump almost getting killed on national TV in that epic fight? You can't fake that. It's so real. Is that bigger than Elon Musk? Because I can't decide.
They don't have a login on CTM anymore.
Yeah, fade up Harrison, guys.
Hey, sorry, can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you.
Yeah, so many things have contributed to this victory. I don't know what has been the bigger effect. Elon Musk, I think RFK Jr. coming over had a gigantic effect. I think Tulsi Gabbard coming over had a gigantic effect. I think, frankly, it was so close. Maybe the fact they killed that squirrel Peanut, maybe that had an effect. So much had to go into this. And really, if you want to put one group, one set of people that put us over the top, weirdly enough, strangely, unexpectedly enough, it was the Amish. The Amish showing up saved Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania made the race go towards Trump. So, I mean, you want to talk about the ints coming in and stepping up and getting involved in the last hour to win the war of the ring. That was incredible. And credit to Scott Pressler for the ground game in Pennsylvania. So it's funny how this big nationwide election can really come down to one state, and it can really even come down to one city or one county in one state. So Pennsylvania was that fulcrum, was that pivot point for the election. And Elon Musk obviously put a lot of effort into that. I imagine he had maybe some algorithms running that told him how important Pennsylvania was. But shout out to everybody who was
That's right.
involved.
Harrison, we love you. Talk to you soon, brother. We'll be right back in 60 seconds.
The one thing I want you to do, if I could ask you to do anything for America and Alex and this network and this crew, the one thing I would ask you to do, go to thealexjonesstore.com right now and sign up for Alex Jones VIP Club. It's $30 a month, but you get $40 in store credit. So if you're going to buy a $35 shirt, you might as well sign up for the VIP Club so that you can get that extra $10 and just get the shirt that you want. That is going to ensure that we can fund this operation, fund the next operation, and ensure that Alex always has a voice. They can try to steal his identity. They can try to steal his business.
Entities making everybody sick. They're going to ban pesticides and GMOs, overhaul the U.S. food production so we're not pumped full of chemicals and seed oils, crack down on chemicals and additives. Going hard to policy changes, re-examining vaccine approvals. Woo, man, they're not happy about this in Pharmaland. And their stocks were tanking. So that's the article. And you can see we had some results in the stock market. Politico story dropped. It's going to be a earthquake for the health industry. Boom, pharma stocks go into the toilet. So here's Moderna crashing 5%. This drops 2.6%. Pfizer drops. We got Merck & Co. They're down. Then this dropped as well. GSK. And the same pattern continued elsewhere. Benny Johnson had some reds. Not a lot. Some of them are down more than others. But we'll see if that trend continues. Pfizer's down. They're all nervous because the grift is coming to an end, finally. RFK Jr. came out, responded, said,
I've never had it tell me that.
Thank you, Trump, for your leadership and courage. I'm committed to advancing your vision to make America healthy again. Says we have a generational opportunity once in our lifetimes, maybe in centuries, to bring together the greatest minds in science, medicine, industry, and government to put an end to the chronic disease epidemic. I look forward to working with more than 80,000 employees at Health and Human Services to free the agencies from the smothering cloud of corporate capture so they can pursue their mission to make Americans once again the healthiest people on earth. We should be the healthiest people on earth. Together, we will clean up corruption. What is being rich and powerful if you're not healthy? What does that even mean? If you're like miserable in your own body and unwell and dying early. Together, we will clean up corruption, stop the revolving door between the industry and government, return our health for themselves and their families. My commitment to the American people is to be an honest public servant. Let's go. That's great news. And we're excited about this new energy. I think it's going to be very important for our country. We can't accomplish much of anything if we can't even be well inside our own bodies. So this was an interesting little dynamic that happened last night. The liberals kind of are instinctually aligned with RFK Jr., some of them, because you have to understand, they want to be healthy too. Jared Polis, I mean, he wants to be healthy. He's probably struggling with seed oils himself, as many of us are. Seed oils are everywhere, and it can show up in your body, right? He might have a lot of those going on. But my point is, he came out instinctually, and here's what he said. This is the governor of Colorado. He said, I'm excited by the news that President-elect Trump will appoint RFK to HHS. This is a mega Democrat, right? He says he helped us defeat vaccine mandates in Colorado in 2019 and will help make America healthy again by shaking up the HHS and FDA. What? And he's a gamer with G-A-Y? What does that mean? All right. Anyways, I hope he leans into personal choice on jabs rather than bans, he says, which I think are terrible, just like mandates. But what I'm optimistic about is taking on Big Pharma and the corporate AG oligopoly to improve our health. Now, he's going to walk this back in a minute. Before you mock him or disagree, I want to share with you some quotes that, if he follows through, show why I'm excited. This is the governor. Level the playing field for the Americans internationally on drug costs. All right. Cap drug prices so that companies can't charge Americans more than the Europeans, right? The Americans are just exploited. We're just like an economic zone. We subsidize other entities because we can, I guess. They can. Yes, he says. Colorado currently has an application just sitting at the FDA for us to import low-cost prescription drugs from Canada. We just need their approval. In some categories, there are entire departments, like the nutrition department at the FDA, that have to go. They're not doing their job. They're not protecting our kids. Governor says, yes, the entire nutrition regime is dominated by big corporate ag rather than human health. They do more harm than good. We've got to get off pesticides. Yes, he says. We have tried unsuccessfully to better protect the people and the pollinators from harmful pesticides here in Colorado. We need all the help that we can get. He will face strong special interest opposition on these, but I look forward to partnering with him to truly make America healthy again. And I hope that we can finally make progress on these important issues. You go, what? That's a Democrat who wrote this? Jared Polis? He's the governor of Colorado? Yeah, right. He's a clear Democrat.
And I just discovered that Claire on
So
X.
here is now what he
hilarious.
says in the aftermath. So he posted that about 2:30. About 1 hour later, he got a phone call. He says, oops, what I meant to say is this. Regarding my thoughts about RFK, science must remain the cornerstone of our nation's health policy. And science-backed decisions to get jabbed improve public health and safety. See how that statement changed? It's incredible, isn't it? So somebody from Pfizer gave him a call. They're like, hey, buddy boy, better walk that back, bucko. Get your jabs because we need it. Pathetic, right? So it's an hour later. So the first statement, he says, you can see this one, he's here at 2:26. 1 hour later, he clarifies, 3:29. But if as a country we follow the science, we would also be far more concerned about the impact of pesticides, AG policy on nutrition, and the lack of prescription drugs access. This is why I'm for a major shakeup at places like the FDA. But lest there be any doubt, I am jabbed, as is my family. I will hold any secretary to the same high standard of protecting and improving public health. All right. So he's like typing his text, his X thing with like 15 jabs in his neck. Again, remember that meme? They're like, I trust the science. That's that guy with like 35 needles in his body. He's like, I'm jabbed. I love him. I love the vaccines. I got one right now. I'm quadruple boosted. All right. Now, his office also came out and walked this back. They're so pathetic.
Oh, I am on the wrong mic.
Office of Jared Polis, the Democrat governor from Colorado, is walking back the praise. Okay, he makes that post, and then his office now publishes this. Watch.
Is that better?
Governor Polis has not changed his view as a whole on RFK Jr., and the governor stated concerns regarding his positions. While opposed to his positions on a host of issues, including jabs and banning fluoride, he would appreciate seeing actions on pesticides and efforts to lower drug costs. And if Trump is going to nominate someone like him, then let him also take on soda, processed foods, pesticides, and heavy metals. But he definitely does not endorse actions that would lead to measles outbreaks and oppose unscientific propaganda that undermines confidence in the life-saving impact of jabs. The governor himself was jabbed last week with the flu jab. He loves jabs. The jokes write themselves, right? And the COVID jab, and he personally encouraged Marshall to get jabbed as well. It's so pathetic. So pathetic. Could you imagine you're the governor of a state and you're not free at all? You can't say anything that you believe. Because you get a phone call from Pfizer or whoever. They call and they just say, you better revise that statement, buddy boy. This is a clear example of why we need RFK. What the hell is this? What is this? How are you the governor of a state? You post something that you believe to be true, and then 2 seconds later, you backpedal like a little coward, and your office comes out and writes a whole new thing. That's the power of the pharmaceutical companies. They've got control over a sitting governor, not even a free man. He's a slave to their interests, which is pathetic. So you can see they're condemning him on this, which is happening on CNN, which is a major Pfizer recipient. They just get Pfizer, brought to you by Pfizer. Remember that? So they had to come out and scold the governor. His statement was like normal. It wasn't even an insane statement. It was very reasonable. Yeah, hey, we're looking forward to getting healthcare fixed. Our actual Colorado citizens are sick of this crap. So he's doing his job, and he has to backpedal like a little bee.
Well, first of all, I was with Jared today throughout the day at the Governors Association meeting. We talked about this. Jared is very worried about what RFK would do over vaccinations.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
Whether or not RFK gets to do anything else, who knows? But this is a gentleman who has absolutely no training in public health, no experience in public health, nor does he have any experience in biopharmacologic processes either.
Does Xavier Becerra, that guy, does he have experience in those things there, buddy?
He is a quack scientist. It is obvious. And Mr. Trump is doing this to be provocative. Now, tearing down government when children's health is on the line is not okay. I was disappointed in Jared, who I love, who is one of my favorite governors, but it is not okay.
Xavier Becerra, the current HHS guy, is not a doctor or medical person at all. He's a lawyer. He was a California state assemblyman, was the AG of California, and then got promoted there. So he's a lawyer. You know who else is a lawyer? RFK Jr. But RFK Jr. has spent his life suing these entities, knows them inside and out. Becerra was not at all. He was the AG of California. He's got no medical background at all. Biologics, pharmaceuticals, nothing like that. And he's been in charge and wrecked everything for the last 4 years.
It's not okay to do what he did, to cast doubt on processes that are well established in science.
Yeah, right.
It makes parents scared. When parents are scared, they don't take action. If people freeze and we lose 10 or 20% of our vaccination rates, you'll see disease spread widely across America.
Oh, yeah.
And remember, you've got a lot of children who are too young to be vaccinated who will be very vulnerable when these diseases spread. You'll see some polio come back. You'll certainly see outbreaks of measles and mumps and chickenpox.
Everyone's kids are going to die.
These things don't just sometimes kill you. They also will cause serious neurologic damage when children are ending up with infections because they couldn't get immunity.
I wonder if this guy's getting paid. Wonder who is this guy? So Governor Josh Green from Hawaii. Okay, so they just got their other governors to come out and bash the current governor. So governors, get in line. You're not even free people. You're slaves to big pharma. How does it feel? So here's what the New York Times says about it. And if you hear it right now, we have been joined by a leaf blower guy. What's up, leaf blower guy? It's going to be so nice out there. Trump picks RFK Jr. to be the head of HHS. Let's see what the Times says. They say he's stocking his administration with a bunch of incredible people. Says in a statement on Truth, he released this name. If he's confirmed, Kennedy would have sweeping control of the department, 80,000 employees, 13 operating divisions, 100 programs. Let's go. Soon to be a lot less than that. Its agencies regulate the food, research things like cancer, which goes up, Alzheimer goes up, infectious diseases are going up, autism's going up, everything's going up. Many Democrats and public health experts were appalled by him. They said RFK is part of the problem and cannot be part of the solution. Yeah, that's right. The same people who've been in charge of our health that's leading to declining lifespan rates and worse health outcomes for most Americans should continue to be in charge, is their logic. They said he spreads false information. Look, man, they're arming up. Okay. The special interest, the New York Times is writing a hit piece. This whole thing is a hit piece. Lately, he shifted his vaccine language towards the chronic disease epidemic. And I've listened to a lot of Kennedy over this last year. I know you have too. But he has his eye on the problem. He knows what he's talking about. And he's identified it, tracing it all the way back to 1989, give or take, when we started to see a massive increase, a hockey stick up and to the right, of major health problems. And what is that all about? What is that? Well, he's going to shake it up. He vowed, he said this at Genius Network, they're going to fire 600 workers and install their new people. He was there raising $10 million in order to do that. We hope he's successful. So that's happening. We also have reaction on CNN. You can see they're freaking out. They're bringing out this dude who was mostly useless during the pandemic. I mean, they all were useless. All they did really was the COVID death count scoreboard while Trump.
4 years about all of the corruption. Again, you've been at the forefront of that, Alex. So truly, thank you. And I'm just sorry that this is happening to InfoWars, but thank you for continuing to push back, truly.
Well, I mean, we're winning. I mean, even if we were losing, I'd have to do the right thing because these people are evils, human traffickers, child traffickers. It's all coming out. They're so arrogant they thought they were invincible. Well, imagine being Mayorkas now, knowing all the crimes he committed, Harris. Imagine all their gaslighting, their own cult. What do you make of these women shaving their heads because Trump's going to put them in a concentration camp? I mean, this is a cult in collapse.
Alex, I was in New York this weekend, and I was specifically talking to women and asking them, hey, now that Donald Trump is in office, what rights are going to be taken away from you? They couldn't articulate it, okay? Nobody knows why they're upset. These are the same women, and I actually am not even angry at these women. I feel very bad for them because they have been targeted with a multi-billion-dollar propaganda campaign to make them scared, to vote against their best interests. I mean, we have had a huge generation of Americans that have been targeted by a corrupt Department of Education that has only basically made them hate their country and educated them against the true foundations of this country and what we really are about here. So, yeah, you know, it's just absolutely incredible the time that we are living through right now. And yeah, like you said, we're winning. And I don't know why these women are going so crazy. I'm truly going to try to make it my life's mission over the next 4 years to go and talk to these people, try to wake them up even more, go meet them where they're at, and, you know, push through that propaganda and push through that conditioning. It's so important.
Savannah, I want you to be able to host here until Viva Frei comes on because I just learned there's some emergency hearing happening right now. So I'm going to get some more intel on that. I know you're a great talk show host in your own right. We'll also pull up her X account and we'll show you some B-roll while she's talking about the women she was talking to in New York in just the last few days, because that's really, really important. And can we reach out to these people? We also see all these big women's groups saying they're going to poison their husbands, even if they didn't vote for Trump because they're men. These women are like married to the state, married to Bill Gates. They somehow think it's good because they're allied with it. They don't need a man, but the state run by Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates and King Charles that literally wanted to kill everybody, that are depopulationists, are doing this. Yeah, it's just, all right, well, we're still sizing stuff up and still working on stuff. We haven't done any real broadcasts out of here yet. We need to be able to center the X account and then actually show what's on it. So
this is my favorite part about coming on Alex's show is that he's live directing everything. I remember working productions for you, Alex.
Well, always, and we're going to work through some bugs here, but you know, we're going to we got a building full of people, so we're going to figure it out. Everybody's doing great. But I'm going to go deal with some stuff here. You're hosting right now, sweetheart. Go ahead. We love you.
All right, perfect. All right, guys. Well, I guess I'm here hosting for Alex, which I was not expecting to do. You know what? I was actually getting ready to host my own show today, though, and I was going to talk about where we are currently at in the country in terms of Donald Trump, you know, and the A-team that is currently surrounding him. Obviously, not every single one of his picks are perfect, but we are truly living through one of the best periods in human history. Now, I was in New York this past weekend, and I was trying to talk to a lot of liberals and really get the vibe, right, across America right now, because we have been told over the past 4 years that Donald Trump was absolutely not going to win this election, that everybody hated Donald Trump, that there was no way he was going to come back. And then on election night, we saw that mandate. Okay. And I'm going to be honest with everybody here listening. I was not expecting for us to win the popular vote, the electoral votes, and every single swing state, all 7. It was a beautiful thing to witness. And one of the things that Alex always loves to talk about and hound home is the human spirit, the human awakening. And I really can't credit him enough for that, because he's truly been at the forefront of it, right? A lot of us are just waking up right now to the fact that our food and water supply is poisoned, to the fact that we truly do have this deep state government that tried to come in and assassinate the people's choice for president. These are all things that we lived through. Let's not forget Dr. Fauci and the absolute insanity that the government put us through. I sit back and think about this sometimes, because, you know, you bring in the media, and the propaganda that they're consistently hitting us with is to keep us distracted from all of these major things that are consistently going on in this country. But we are currently living through one of the most incredible periods in human history, not only as Donald Trump as our president-elect, but also with human beings themselves being awake, us having the capability to go on X and speak to each other directly. I mean, you know, during the election process, you had patriots go on X and essentially say, hey, at Donald Trump Jr., don't have this person a part of the administration, or this person or this person. And then you immediately have Trump Jr. saying, send me the list of people. We will make sure that Donald Trump gets it and sees it. And every single American being a part of this movement has truly brought us to where we are today. And it's been absolutely incredible. So I just have to sit here and bask because in the winning, right? Because it truly was such a big fight for the past 4 years. And unfortunately, with what is happening to InfoWars today, with InfoWars being shut down, it's heartbreaking. InfoWars was a platform that brought on so many of us when we were still small, maybe when we were censored, before anybody else did, before, you know, bigger people in the media thought that we were important. It was always Alex Jones. It was always Owen Schroyer. It was always Harrison Smith that were bringing us on the shows, allowing us to report. Again, I wouldn't be where I am today without Alex and his mentorship. He's mentored so many of us, and the media has tried to demonize and attack him relentlessly because he has been a part of this huge awakening that we have seen over the past 4 years that has gotten us into this period where we are truly about to live through the golden age of American politics. What you guys are seeing on screen right now is me talking to liberal women in New York who could not articulate why they were afraid of Donald Trump, what rights they think are going to be taken away. And you know why they can't, my friends? Because the conditioning is breaking, and they realize that Donald Trump was president for 4 years, and there wasn't a fascist dictatorship that was enacted. They are okay. Their rights were not impeded upon. So we will continue to go out, and I would encourage every listener as well, go out and go find a liberal woman and go try to wake them up and say, ma'am, did your rights get taken away? Was there a dictatorship enacted? No, if anything, let's talk about the fact that it was Merrick Garland, it was a politicized DOJ that over the past 4 years targeted political opposition and tried to jail them. But we are living through one of the most incredible comebacks in American history, if you will. And I truly could not be more grateful to be a part of this movement, to be living through this period of time. So that's where we're at, my friends. Make sure that you're following Alex's new account. I was not expecting to be up here hosting. So to everybody who is tuning in, thank you for being here with me today. I really have just been kind of perusing the news, but most importantly, looking at what has been happening to InfoWars. If you're just tuning in, I was talking to Alex about how this sets the precedent for, you know, what corrupt officials are going to continue to try to do to independent voices, independent media members, what they've tried to do over the past how many years, 9 years at this point. And, you know, we do have a big fight ahead, but we truly do need to take a moment to look back at how hard we fought and all of the hard work that each and every single one of us put in, Alex included. And like I said, this is a sad day for InfoWars, but this is only going to make this movement so much more powerful, so much bigger. I posted a photo of Alex and I from a couple years back, and I had so many people reach out and say, I never knew that you started with Alex.
We just need to do the standard stuff
I
with
wish
them.
I had started listening sooner, because now I can't go back to the archives.
Okay.
I know Alex and the team have been working on a way for you guys to be able to go and find those archives, because now it's more important than ever for us to go back and find all of those Alex Jones predictions. I mean, this man has been at the forefront of essentially laying out the game plan for us. So, yes, my friends, make sure you're following Alex's new Twitter account. If somebody wants to tell me what it is in my ear, I want to make sure that I get it correct. But go follow Alex's new account. And thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you support this man. Go support Owen. Go support Harrison Smith. These people have been at the forefront of the fight for humanity and the fight for human awakening. And we cannot be more grateful for that. Thank you, Alex. We love you.
The major central banks of the globe.
And where's RFK? Over there, maybe? Yeah, there he is. Yeah, you can have a cheeseburger every now and then. Not too bad. Taking selfies. Looking good. Hey, started Chuck Norris roundhouse provision more today. Good. Looks nice. Lots of picks. So this was at Mar-a-Lago. Now Trump came out and spoke a bit. I got some clips of that coming up too. Making their way into the venue. More picks. Lots of picks, man. Health and Human Services. So he's there. Now we also had the Javier Milei, who was out there, the president of Argentina.
I'm very grateful for staying here. I am feeling blessing. I will do my speech in Spanish, but I have a very big and very good interpreter. And then, sorry, but I will speak in Spanish. Todos mis discursos comienzan con hola a todos. Hello everybody.
Speeches start with hello everyone.
Muchas gracias. Gracias por hacerme parte de este evento tan importante y por permitirme hablar aquí entre ustedes que son unos verdaderos gigantes.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this major event and for giving me the opportunity to speak here among all of you, you who are true giants.
Quiero comenzar primero felicitando al presidente electo Donald Trump por su contundente victoria.
First, I would like to begin by congratulating President-elect Donald Trump on his resounding victory.
Heck yeah.
Por la remontada política más grande de la historia, enfrentando a todo el establishment político, incluso poniendo en riesgo su propia vida.
This has been the greatest political comeback in history, defying the entire political establishment, even at the risk of his own life.
Yes.
Y gracias a ello, hoy el mundo es un mundo mucho mejor, porque hoy soplan vientos de libertad, soplan muchísimo más fuerte.
And thanks to this, today the world is a much better place. Today, the winds of freedom are blowing much stronger.
Un verdadero milagro y prueba fehaciente que las fuerzas del cielo están de nuestro lado.
A true miracle and proof positive that the forces of heaven are on our side.
En 1848, Marx comenzó aquel panfleto siniestro que fue su manifiesto comunista, diciendo que un fantasma recorría Europa, el fantasma del comunismo.
In 1848, Marx began that sinister pamphlet, his Communist Manifesto,
Yes, it was
with the
sinister.
phrase, "A spectre is haunting Europe, the spectre of communism."
Hoy, un fantasma distinto recorre el mundo, el fantasma de la libertad.
Today, a different type of spirit is traversing the world, the spirit of freedom.
Yeah, it is, baby. I was hoping we were going to get an afuera out of there, but apparently we didn't get one. But that's okay, because as soon as Trump gets in there, there will be a lot more afueraing happening. Now, one person who's going to be in charge of the interior is going to be Doug Burgum.
We have a big announcement, and I won't tell you the name of his the exact name. I think he's an incredible person. Got an unbelievably wonderful wife named Catherine. So I won't tell you his name. Might be something like Burgum. He's from North Dakota. He's going to be announced tomorrow for a very big position. So everybody's waiting. There he is. Hi, Doug. He's going to be announced tomorrow, and we have somebody else that's probably coming up with him to be announced, who's a big one. And we're going to do things with energy and with land, interior, that is going to be incredible. And so I look forward to doing the formal announcement, although this is a pretty big announcement right now. Actually, he's going to head the Department of Interior, and he's going to be fantastic. Good, Doug. Congratulations, Catherine.
That's great.
But we'll make the formal announcement tomorrow.
Hilarious. All right, I'll just say it. All right, so there you go. So Doug Burgum is going to the White House along with RFK, and we can't wait to see them all in there. What a tease, huh? What a tease. All right, so big news, Health and Human Services, RFK Jr. is going to make us all healthy again, and our biceps are going to be bigger than ever. All right, so let's see what is coming up next. Let's talk about some recess appointments, because the question is, how do we get these people through? So the AP has a story on this. Tells us Trump with some big picks for his new cabinet, but how does he get them through? Can he appoint them? What if the Senate, it gets difficult in their confirmation process? Do we have an alternative path through recess appointments? Well, here's what the AP says. And we also have pulled up portions of the Constitution that are relevant, and we'll see how this might work. But here's what the AP says. They tell us, as Trump moves to set up a more forceful term this time, he's picking loyalists for his cabinet, and he's considering recess appointments so that he can skip over the Senate confirmations and appoint these people to powerful positions. Over the weekend, he demanded that they consider recess appointments, and the new Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, has confirmed that he will. But it's now being tested because Gaetz is here, Tulsi's here. And on Wednesday, after Trump announced Gaetz, we have a question. Can they gain majority support? Republicans have 53 senators, but is that going to be enough when we have squishy Republicans like Murkowski and Collins? Now, the Senate, as set up by the Constitution, holds the important role in confirming or rejecting these high-level positions, right? Advice and consent of the Senate. It's part of the government's checks and balances that the president can't just appoint whomever they want. However, there is a clause in the Constitution that does allow the president to fill out their administrations if the Senate is in recess. During the nation's early history, Congress would take months-long break from Washington's, and presidents would then use recess appointments to have their jobs filled. And the Democrats have done a lot of this. So when the Republicans and others criticize Trump on this, just remind them. Bill Clinton had 139 recess appointments, all right? George Bush made 171. They didn't use it for top-level cabinet positions, according to the CRS, Congressional Research Service. And Obama tried to continue the practice, using it 32 times, but then the Supreme Court came out and put a check on it. The Supreme Court unanimously ruled that the Senate has to recess or adjourn for 10 days before a president can make unilateral appointments. They can't be gone for like a day. That's resulted in a practice where the Senate, even during weeks-long breaks from Washington, still holds pro forma sessions where one senator opens and closes the chamber, but no legislative business is conducted. So it's just a check on the executive branch. They just open the doors. The House also holds some powers over this by refusing to allow the Senate to adjourn.
You see.
So now how can this work if the Republicans are in control of both both houses? Right now, the Democrats are in charge, so they're going to continue to open up the recess, right? Let's say the Democrats kept the Senate. They would just open up a session.
Kittle, he'll play.
And then they would stop the executive branch from being able to fill that gap. So, but now if the Republicans, when they are in control of the Senate, maybe they'll just recess. Trump envisions becoming a president who's stronger. When he becomes president again next year, he'll be working with the House and the Senate. John Thune, who was elected, is pledging to keep an aggressive schedule until his nominees are confirmed. But it's not clear if recess appointments would work. The announcement of Gates and Gabbard sputtered the Senate into life, talking about advice and consent. John Cornyn says, well, we should see the report on this, and we'll see what happens. But the way that this works, you can see Article 2, Section 2, Clause 3. It says, the president shall have the power to fill up all vacancies that may happen during the recess of the Senate by granting commissions which shall expire at the end of their next session. So according to this analysis of this, it says, this appointments clause authorizes the president to make temporary appointments when the Senate is not in session. In Federalist number 67, written by Alexander Hamilton, it refers to the power as nothing more than a supplement to establish an auxiliary method of appointment to make sure you can do it. It's generally accepted the clause was designed to enable the president to actually operate the government when the Senate was not in session. In addition to fostering continuity, presidents have exercised this authority before, and so we'll see if Trump does it when the time comes. Now, here's some more from CBS saying Trump is going to test this process. Before Senate Republicans elected their leaders for the 119th, Trump demanded that the candidates agree to recess appointments. The basis for this is from the Constitution. 10 days is the limit. And so it does not have the same benefits as another nominee who's confirmed by the Senate. Without Senate approval, the appointee would not be paid. The appointee can serve for up to 2 years, depending on when the appointment was made. After that, they could be installed again. Some senators who will become in the majority come January showed little appetite for that. Susan Collins saying, well, she'll throw a fit over it. Kramer, North Dakota, throwing a fit over it. Gates has already resigned. And they're demanding that the report from the House committee be sent over. And we see that Obama did a bunch of this and others have done it as well. So here is a historical purview of what they've done before. So Bill Clinton appointed a bunch of people basically in his 8th year, started using them more towards the final end of his term. Bush used them years 4, 5, and 6. Obama used them year 1, and then SCOTUS put in the 10-day rule, and then it stopped a bit. But John Thune says he's open to it. Here was his take on with Fox News.
So you've said that you would do recess appointments if it came to that. What's the threshold for getting to that point for recess appointments?
Well, what I said is, Brett, and I think this is that all options are on the table, including recess appointments. Hopefully it doesn't get to that, but we'll find out fairly quickly whether the Democrats want to play ball or not. And I think part of it is getting these folks. We'll start having confirmation hearings as soon as the new Senate is sworn in January. President takes the oath of office January 20th. By the time he takes the oath of office, hopefully a lot of those nominees will be through their confirmation hearings and will be ready to act on them on the Senate floor. And then it's a question of how much do the Democrats resist or object or try to block those nominations from going forward. And we're going to grind them out. I mean, we're just going to keep consistently moving, and we'll see what kind of cooperation we get. And then we'll, like I said, we'll make decisions about where do we go from there.
All right. So I hope they are aggressive. We're going to push these people through. We'll see what happens when they're in session. All right, we've got one final update, my friends, and then we'll hear from you. Let's see what's happening in Pennsylvania. Democrats continue to fight for the seat in Pennsylvania for the Senate. We know that McCormick has already been declared the victor, but there is a recount happening right now. And the Democrats are trying to break the rules, openly talking about this in their sessions, saying that, well, we know it's not what the law says, but we need to break the law so that the courts can come in and do something about this. That's what this woman just said. So here is the update from the Pennsylvania GOP, very important Senate seat. We've got squishy Republicans. Republicans are in control of the Senate now, 53. But we've got Murkowski, Collins, and others who might buck the MAGA trend for whatever reason, and so we could really use this seat. But the Pennsylvania GOP says, all right, we're now filing lawsuits says the PA GOP is before the state Supreme Court this morning asking the court to uphold the law. It's pretty simple. Says while Republican U.S. Senate candidate Dave McCormick currently holds an insurmountable
abusive litigants who are now depriving millions, tens of millions of people of their access to First Amendment right information coming from you in the entity that you built up. So it's not going to generate sympathy for the parents or for the plaintiffs. That's a big problem. And I don't know that they fully appreciate that.
Absolutely. It turns out Lopez had an emergency hearing. It's been going for 30 minutes. My lawyers were contacting me to say, don't air the Lopez hearing. I've never aired a hearing. These hearings, they bring in the HBO cameras. You're not supposed to tape or have a federal hearing, even though the left's been caught doing it. But I'm told that the U.S. trustee is being raked over the coals right now in court because I'm not a lawyer, but before I even heard all this, when I heard what they did, I talked to the U.S. trustee this morning at not at 9:30 for about 20 minutes in front of witnesses. And he said, well, we don't have to do the biggest bid. We can do whatever we think's best. And we're pledging, your future earnings towards the purchase. So the Connecticut people pledged their judgment on me that's on appeal to buy it, and they put in a lower number and valued it at a lower number. And since when do you say you're having a public auction that months ago under federal law and rules with a big online top company that's legitimate, they file it, they tell everybody you've got to do a non-disclosure, you've got to show you've got money, you got to fill all these forms. Then they say that November 8th is the last day to put in your bid. Then on November 11th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon Central, they send an email to everybody saying, well, now it's a closed bid and we don't have to take the largest bid, and you have till 10 a.m. on November 13th, yesterday, and then we'll open the envelopes at 10:30, and then we'll announce the winner at some point. But we reserve the right to give us the money for cheaper. And it just smacks to me. And I said, that's it. It's an inside deal. I said, don't be paranoid. It doesn't look good. It is crazy. Blah, 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 blah. I came and got the crew here at the new studios. I said, we'll be off by Thursday morning. I figured it'd take them a day. I said, they'll sneak attack in the morning. I called it as usual. And there we are. So, I mean, what is that? I know you can't speak to it from law because you haven't read all the documents. That's what's going on.
Well, I mean, if my understanding is correct, I hope the trustee gets, raked over the proverbial legal coals, because you can imagine a situation in which you say, I'm not going to accept the highest bid, but there's other reasons for it. Like, just take a very, very easy example. You get a massive bid for an electric car company and a lesser bid coming from Elon Musk and Tesla. And then you'll say, well, in bankruptcy, this might work better because even though it's not the highest bid, the expertise of the entity is value added that's not, measurable necessarily, or at least can compensate for the difference in total purchase price. You can imagine that. What they're doing is actually just going to kill the value of InfoWars and any value that it might have had in contributing towards a...
Which they said is the mission publicly everywhere in court filings. Like, they're so proud.
They said it during your trial. I mean, the goal is to shut you up. It's not for any form of whatever justice they feel can be.
And the law says their only justice civil is money, but they don't want the justice. They want this.
It's obvious they want this, but Alex, not to put any more, conspiratorial thoughts in your head. If this were not to get overturned, my immediate reaction and my immediate reflex was they're going to go after you anywhere and everywhere you go in any way, shape, or form, and argue that you are, by doing what you're doing, like, set up another entity, set up another social media account, set up another InfoWars 2, don't
yes,
I
have.
InfoWars 2, but set up another platform, and they will argue that you are siphoning profits from InfoWars by virtue of your conduct, thus depriving the plaintiffs of the value of what they purchased. And they're going to try to shut you down or claim you wherever you go in any way, shape, or form. People are going to cry First Amendment
violation. Take this little one.
Everything about your trial.
I'm actually okay in here.
They're not going to stop at there. So, if this does not get overturned and they take over InfoWars,
yeah, I told her to shut it
and run it into the ground, which they're going to do. I have a bad feeling they're going to come after you at any entity that you set up.
No, they've said they will, but they throw the legal case out the window. There's no case there. By saying we don't want money, we don't want a settlement, we want him shut down. So they want to kill the thing that would make them money, but then they can say you owe us money. They're already saying that. The issue is, if I'm a baseball player and I've gone bankrupt, they can't stop me from going to a new baseball team. The baseball team under federal law, they can't get my paycheck. They can try to get it once I have it. So the Alex Jones Network is not owned by Alex Jones, and all these other people that want me to work for him aren't. And so the idea that they are, no, they said in federal filings, we pulled the articles, they want to own the name Alex Jones. They want to own my likeness. And they said the 13th Amendment against slavery does not apply to Alex Jones in the filing a month ago. Bloomberg had it. You can read it in there, folks. And I've shown the filing. I mean, this is next level.
It is. But the fact that, it might not be lawful doesn't mean they're not going to try to do it. And I don't want to give the scoundrels any more ideas, but I don't need to. They are more creative than me. They'll just go after any entity that makes money off of you being affiliated with them. You'll have your homestead protection in Texas and whatever minimums can't be seized, but they'll go after any entity that continues to monetize you in a way that they say siphon or allege siphons off the value of InfoWars.
Let me stop you. I'm going to say this. The person I'm talking to has never been wrong in the hearings. Just to be a first, Lopez, I don't think is a crook. He's done us no favors, but he's followed the law, and he's discovered more as this happens. Sisak is raking Murray over the coals. Lopez is listening. Not going well for Murray, likely to be overturned. Lopez is not happy. What's that? Can you imagine if they do this and he doesn't certify it? Which if he does, this is cut and dry, my lawyer said. They pledged my money that's on appeal under law. You can't do that. Like it's Confederate notes from 1863. They're literally, or Weimar notes or Zimbabwe $1 billion notes. There's no value there. You cannot pledge a judgment in the purchase of the thing you're trying to take.
I would love to see, I don't know if it's going to get into any form of sanctions or discovery as to what the process was or the thought process leading up to this. But not to get ahead of ourselves, see what Judge Lopez says. But you are right about the judge. Lopez in particular deserves credit for not being a politicized partisan hack in the conduct of the federal bankruptcy. But see what he says. Bottom line is, it was clearly contrary to the best interests of the judgment creditors for no better reason other than the underlying political motive that has been vocalized by those lawyers in open court to Judge, I forget her name now, the one in Texas. And so
Guerra Gamble.
Say it again.
Guerra Gamble.
Was that the name of the judge, the one who had the cameras on her?
No. HBO ran it, and it was all a show. And then HBO ran the one in Connecticut. Barbara Bella.
Do you remember when you that was Bella's the one I'm thinking of when she said, "Do you think this is a show trial?" And you're like, "Yeah, it's literally a show trial. There's cameras in here making a documentary." But there's if it's as unlawful as I think it is, there should be sanctions. The only question is what the judge is going to do. Appoint another trustee. I don't know in this, but
here's what's crazier. Here's what's crazier. We didn't do it. And we already knew it was going to happen. So we already had satellite uplinks that were turned on today, already paid and ready. But we had to contact hundreds of radio stations and TV stations to tell them, hey, here's the new feed. Somebody turned the feed off. So imagine the damage to the company that somebody's in there, turning stuff off. And then if the judge says that's wrong, I mean, what a fiasco.
Well, the problem is with the ability to execute on a judgment notwithstanding an appeal under Texas law, the damage will be done. I mean, it may or may not be irreparable, but it's certainly going to be pretty darn close, especially if
that's the big question. If I win the appeal, and they're sure the Supreme Court of Texas will overturn it, Connecticut, even though it's horrible, will probably let it go, but the Supreme Court, if they take it, will win. So that's a gamble, but it doesn't matter. I'm never giving up. The point is that that's what they've all said. If it's all shut down or sold, then under Texas law, they will have to give me the money back with damages.
I doubt they'll have that, but then it'll be like sort of a parlor type situation where if it's shut down and okay, you win on appeal in a few months and you get to build it, you get to take all the controls back, build it back up. You won't have a problem doing that because even your support is just absolutely organic, built over decades. But you're starting from having the value of whatever cut in a substantial portion. So you got to start building back from the rubble, not from the ashes. But the damage will be done one way or the other. They're just trying to do as much damage as humanly possible. I suspect because they know, I want to say they know that the political tide is changing, the public opinion is changing, and I think that they also know that they have some serious issues on appeal, not the least of which is every rule of law, every rule of First Amendment rights, media protection, legal standards were violated in this when they defaulted you into the liability finding, and then the wild, absolutely untenable $1.4 some odd billion judgment against all of these defendants.
Please continue, Viva Friyay, and then I want to move into just general 35,000-foot view, the world, the Trump win, the appointments, just your view on what's happening.
Oh, the appointment, it's amazing. Like I'm making the joke that I've never been into fantasy football, but I'm following these appointments, or at least the appointments until they get Senate confirmation. It's amazing. Some of them, we're not going to be 100% on all of them, but there's been a shift in the zeitgeist where now you see the rats jumping ship, literally, like the Joy Reids making their announcements. They're leaving Twitter. Who else? Don Lemon leaving Twitter. I'm like, yeah, Twitter's going to be a whole hell of a lot of a better place when it does its self-cleaning. But there's been a shift in the political zeitgeist. The energy that was leading up to Trump's third or second election, depending on who you ask, now being focused into his picks. And some of these picks are absolutely amazing. Others less so, and some will be bad, I presume. I won't name the names of who I think are bad, but the great ones. Like Fetterman said yesterday, what did he say? God-level trolling to appoint or to name Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. Maybe not the most experienced one to pick. Maybe he doesn't get confirmed, and maybe there's a shift somewhere down the line. But the biggest of middle fingers to the people who have waged lawfare, not just against Donald Trump, but against Matt Gaetz, against the Steve Bannons, Peter Navarro, Manafort, Carter Page, It's the biggest middle finger to the system, and it's making them all freak out in real time and melt down, because these are people who will go no holds barred if given, the keys to the closets that they're going to open up and expose all the skeletons of. Tulsi Gabbard, amazing picks. Pete Hegseth making people's heads roll and revealing people for the ignorant SOBs that they truly are. They only know Pete Hegseth from Fox News, and so they only assume he's just a Fox News host and don't appreciate his 2+ decades, 2 Bronze Stars, multiple awards for combat, that he's a veteran. They don't know this. And so they expose themselves for the idiots that they are, the malicious propagandists that they are, and it really couldn't be any better. Oh yeah, I love this classic clip. It couldn't be any better. Of a number of these are rubbing in the faces of the people who had been in charge and had been abusing the populace. They're no longer in charge, and justice is coming.
Just got this from my folks in the hearing with Lopez. Judge is upset about lack of transparency. Just said that. What's that mean?
It means that all of this happened under the cloak of darkness. I presume, if it's anything like, I did some bankruptcy law up in Canada. For those watching, I actually practiced for like 13 years and I had a great bankruptcy case once, because hell hath no fury like a lawyer unpaid. But typically the judge has to approve of these things before you can start executing. And I presume Lopez is caught off guard. Like, I'm supposed to ratify any agreement, any settlement, any sale of the assets in bankruptcy.
No, he said that a month ago. They filed to take my name, and Lopez said no. He said anything you do has to be approved by me. He said I want total and then they just hijacked it, threw me out the building.
It is wild. I wish I could have been there to see exactly what's going on, but just by the facts as I understand them, as is sort of even being confirmed by the Onion guy. What's his name? Therabolt, whatever the guy's last name is.
His name is extremely handsome person.
Is that what it means?
No, I'm joking. The guy looks like a toad that climbed out of Satan's ass.
No, because his name does look like it could be mispronounced in a humorous way. Reading the Onion's explanation as to why they bought it, I mean, they're actually publicizing. They get ahead of themselves a little bit, that they might not have had full authorization to do this, and the reasons that they are, out there propagating or promoting might not be the cleanest of motives to explain why they're buying this. Like, that piece in the Onion might come back to haunt them, because it sort of seems clear to me that they're not buying it for maximum value. They might be buying it for other political reasons. But no, it's clear something happened and the judge wasn't aware of it. And judges do not like, being made to look like fools. Period.
Viva Friyay, we've got Drew Hernandez coming up in about 6-7 minutes, but I want to briefly, before we connect with him, have you make any other comments about Trump, America, the world, what you see happening. Then the great Drew Hernandez, Roger Stone, Elijah Schaffer, Steve Bannon. I got to get General Flynn on. I'm going to call him. Stay with us. We're going commercial free right now. We'll still have a few breaks. You know what I mean. Now is the time to wear Trump gear. And we've got the best designs at the AlexJonesStore.com. You support the Second American Revolution. You exercise your free speech. You stand up to the bullies. You exercise your will. And it keeps this broadcast, if we're shut down next week, still on the air at the Alex Jones Network. It'll be on the radio, the TV, all the same stations. It's all set up. The crew, the studios, all of it. But we need more funds to ensure we're full power when we continue our assault. So you're literally in the information war, refueling the aircraft, loading the weapons, arming them. We've already got a lot of weapons loaded, but we need to be fully loaded when we take off at maximum load for maximum attack when we do our attack runs in the information war. So we're on the tarmac right now, making sure everything's straight here. You need to go to the AlexJonesStore.com. Beautiful black shirt with an American eagle in gold, says Trump won. Beautiful red hoodie. That people are going crazy over that. With white with Trump won. Today is your Independence Day, 1/20/25. Yeah, that's when we really have the Independence Day, when we keep him alive and he gets in there. That's great. So many new hats, all of it made right there in Arkansas. So you get this stuff quick. It's already being made right now. A lot of new Trump shirts and stuff. It'll take them weeks to get done. Not our sponsor. They're ready right now. So your order's in. The AlexJonesStore.com.
All right, there you go. Calves. Veal was one thing. Oh, that's too funny. Colettes. See, okay, Colettes. Calves. Yeah. Veal. Hilarious. Too funny. All right. Hey, D-Ham. Thank you for that, brother. And cheers to Robert Barnes. I think somebody said he was out of the hospital, which is really great news. Scary stuff. Liberty Clarga says properly processed seed oils are amazing. And I know some people say that, right? And I don't know what the ultimate opinion is on this, but there's a very pro seed oil contingent of our farmers out there that say this. I don't know what the truth is. Do your own due diligence and act accordingly. Thank you, Liberty Clarga. This one from Zelensky Glocky says, and there it is. Zelensky says war will end faster with the Trump administration, obviously. Yeah.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
We are unified by our spirit that God made and our connection to the Creator of the universe and our children. And this is the genesis point of the new revolution of information.
I will always believe, and I will always say in public, that Alex Jones is the most extraordinary person I've ever met.
I'll tell you, that guy is right about a lot of shit.
Alex Jones has been right a lot of times.
Alex has been right on for over a decade.
Fluoride, just like Alex Jones was saying, not good. It's crazy.
The real war's here with the globalists and Soros and Obama and the New World Order and BlackRock. They've declared war on us, and we accept the challenge. We're taking the country back.
AlexJones.network is tomorrow's news today.
InfoWars could be shut down in just a few weeks. But Regardless, the fight continues at AJN Live on X, the Alex Jones Network. If the globalists think they're going to shut us down, they've got another thing coming. The Second American Revolution continues on at AJN Live. Follow me there now for news updates and critical intel as we restore our republic.
I ask that with your verdict, you not only take Alex Jones' platform that he talks about away. I ask that you make certain he can't rebuild the platform. That's what matters. Take him out of this discourse, of this misinformation, of this peddling of lies, and make sure he can't do it again. That is punishment. That is deterrence.
But somewhere out there right now is another thing. Getting their kids ready for school. Fixing their lunches. Going to work. Picking up their kid. And there's going to be a day when that child doesn't come home from school. And we know it, and it's sad, and that's reality. And the question is going to be, where is Alex Jones when that happens? Is he in the studio? Getting ready to pounce? Or will you stop him? That's going to be in your hands. And when we get all done with all the evidence, we're going to come back and we're going to ask this. Because that's what justice is in this case.
I hope that we never see someone like him again. I hope that with your verdict, he can go away. Alex Jones is patient zero for our society's inability to speak without lies. I believe it. He is patient zero for alternative facts.
We need to switch all farming to renewable
There's going to be a
farming.
resolution made onto what these
Stop
claims
using
are
all the
valued
fucking
at.
chemicals.
And that's also going to have to take into account what the Lafferty claims are valued at, and the Posner claims are valued at, and the Fontaine claims are valued at. And that is why I've been saying that what this is heading towards is there's going to be a large set of plaintiffs who are going to be dividing up the corpse of InfoWars in the bankruptcy estate. And over the course of that process, that could get very, very dangerous for Mr. Jones, because there is going to be a new level of financial scrutiny. And if, some lawyer like me can basically find out that he's hiding the keys.
The one thing I want you to do, if I could ask you to do anything for America and Alex and this network and this crew, the one thing I would ask you to do, go to thealexjonesstore.com right now and sign up for Alex Jones VIP Club. It's $30 a month, but you get $40 in store credit. So if you're going to buy a $35 shirt, you might as well sign up for the VIP Club so that you can get that extra $10 and just get the shirt that you want. That is going to ensure that we can fund this operation, fund the next operation, ensure that Alex always has a voice. They can try to steal his identity. They can try to steal his business. They can try to steal America. They can try to sacrifice humanity in nuclear genocide. But if you go to thealexjonesstore.com and sign up for Alex Jones VIP Club, they'll never take away our voice. They'll never take away our freedom. They'll never take away free speech, and we can save America together. Please go now and be the reason Alex Jones will always be on the air.
The Alex Jones Network. Tomorrow's news today.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
And it's time for humanity to stand up in the info war and say, I don't know what's going to happen at the end of this, but you want to fight, you better believe you got one!
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday, November 15th, 2024. I am your host, Alex Jones. And right before I went live, I received some incredible information. And this information is a lot bigger than me. It's a lot bigger than you. It's about all of us. And it's just incredibly over the top, incredible, and amazing, and devastating to the establishment. I'm coming to you from the backup studios at the Alex Jones Network. It is 11:09 Central Standard Time. And literally as I was going live on air, that's why we had some confusion. I had to take some phone calls and confirm some things that have now transpired. We already knew a lot of it yesterday. We learned a lot more once I got off air last night. And then this morning, there has been a lot of activity. And you can see the headlines on Real Alex Jones at X. You can see the headlines at the Alex Jones Network on X. But if I can just do an overhead shot, and I had wanted to show the headline that was in there from Bloomberg, and here it is for you. Angry judge orders transparency. Angry judge questions transparency of onion bid for InfoWars. Now, that's what I told you was going on yesterday. And people are like, really? And the judge said this was not a real auction. And he said the sale has not happened. And the corporate media would not pick that up, even though we have the transcripts and my lawyers were at the hearing and Elon Musk lawyers were there. So now the documents have been turned over by the U.S. trustee from the Justice Department of what they actually did, and it's way worse than what is even in the news. And I just started learning this at 7:45 this morning, and I've been just going over all of this. And quite frankly, I am basically speechless right now. I've also basically been authorized, that yes, what I'm saying is completely accurate on its face, on the record. And what is that? What was done is cut and dry, absolutely criminal in every aspect. And then right before I went live on air, a few minutes before, I got the news, and I got it from very good sources. I double-checked it, and anytime you're in a new studio that you haven't been using, it's a nice studio and works well, there's issues and new crews working together, same old crew, but mixed in, and there was little issues. And I get really ready to launch before I go on air. And it's like a thought process starts going. And if there's one screw up at the start, I can handle it. 2, 3, 4, 5, it starts getting to me. And I'm not mad.
No, they bid on it,
I'm just not at a
shut it
place to be able to do the show right now. And I'm just being honest with viewers and listeners. I'm going to have to get my composure, and I'm going to have to relaunch the live show.
They bid less.
We're here. We're on the radio stations, the TV stations. They're hijacking the building yesterday and cutting off the satellite feeds and all of that. We had backups. We got most of the stations to switch over. I apologize to stations for that. This is historic, what's happened. I've not announced what's happened yet, what has been discovered. And I was almost not going to cover it right away so I could think about it some. And then that must have been God telling me when everything that we did just wouldn't even go out over air. So I'm not meant to be on air right now. That's God. Actually, that's God telling me that I shouldn't do the show right now. And that's what's going to happen now. So we've got really important information, news while I'm reflecting. Might be 5 minutes. Might not come back on today. So that's just where we are. So I am trying my best here. And it's not that I'm even angry. It's that we have been living under corruption for so long, and then the public's finally waking up to it, that it's really a cathartic experience as the global awakening burgeons and explodes and goes into hyperdrive. And so that's incredibly positive news. And I also don't want to make this broadcast with all the historical things happening be just about what's happening to InfoWars right now. But it needs to be talked about because it affects everybody. It's a big deal. And it's just another signpost on where we're going as the corruption collapses, as they turn on each other, as the truth comes out, that we have a bureaucracy, corporate, governmental, in this country, medical, that has been doing whatever it wants to anybody at any time for decades and decades and decades. And it has gotten worse and worse and worse, and more 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 intense. So that's what all of this goes to. Now, we have a lot of incredible news, very positive news on World War III front. That's basically the biggest yet in years. Zelensky says he's ready to end the war, which we knew as soon as you got a U.S. president not telling him to continue the war, he'd stop. That's massive. That's pop out the champagne right there if this goes through. Because we're so close to nuclear wars, all the top analysts agree. We've then got all these great appointments. Most of them are really good. Trump's hitting on all cylinders, but both publicly and behind the scenes, he's really going after the globalist. And we also have RFK Jr. and Health and Human Services and Moderna and Pfizer and all the big poison mRNA shot companies, stocks plunging. So that shows you how real all of this change is.
Your email. No, your
So,
email on your phone. Or you can go on there? Oh, I'll go on there. Okay. Just to create the password. It's going to say like walk in. Yeah, right there, set password. Once you create your username, you take it there as your email address, then whatever password, and just fill them out.
Really want to thank everybody that has stood with us over the years, all that we've gone through. And there is more intense issues that we have to face in the future, obviously. But we have turned the tide. So yesterday, I learned they're closing the building without a court order, and that the U.S. trustee had exceeded his authorization by the judge by 1,000,000 miles, which the judge said yesterday in the emergency hearing after I already made those points on air because I could see what's going on. And basically everything I said on air was totally accurate, other than it was worse than I was saying. And there we are with them ordering the crew to just turn off the studio. I'm live on air with Steve Bannon. So I'm going to air a little bit of that just for the historical nature of it. And then we learned a lot more. It was worse than we thought. And then I'm going to come back at the bottom of the hour, and we'll see if we can do the show. And then I have some big, I mean, these are huge announcements. I mean, this is going to blow you away. You want to take the feed at Real Alex Jones and the feed at Alex Jones Network, that is AJN Live on X. You want to follow that. You want to share the live feed right now and the InfoWars feed from X. And if you're listening to a local radio station, you want to tell people around you to tune in. It's important. And if you're listening other places, just share it. That's how we create the chain reaction. But there's the headline: breaking now, sale of InfoWars blocked by federal judge after hijacking and closure of the news organization's headquarters yesterday. Alex Jones is live right now, breaking massive news. That's the Alex Jones Network headline. That's the folks that just tune in on those streams now. It'll be millions in just a few hours, tens of millions by this evening. And then let's go to the Real Alex Jones headline. I want to read that one to you as well. And again, the Bloomberg headline, people think is shocking. Because I said this while the hearing was going on yesterday. Angry judge questions transparency of Onion bid for InfoWars. No, he said the auction wasn't real and didn't happen. Judge halts the Onion's InfoWars takeover to review bankruptcy auction process. Now, you have to understand, that's not even the big news. That would normally be the big news. The Onion didn't buy InfoWars Wednesday. They didn't have an auction. They didn't pay money. They were given it. It's a sham on its face, prima facie. But that's not even the big news. So that's what evil does, is it pushes and it pushes and it pushes and it gets away with stuff forever. And then when people wake up and start opposing it, it still thinks it can get away with it. And it's not. So there's really three big stories I'm about to break that affect everybody. And the first one is Trump's taking the gloves off. Elon Musk is taking the gloves off. And the other two are about what has been discovered and what has happened and what has already been done about 25 minutes ago. Now, I told the bad guys yesterday, and I put up videos last night before this was 100% confirmed. I mean, the corruption, that there wasn't an auction, that it was bid collusion, felonies, all that's just open and shut, done. Red-handed. Rats leaving sinking ship, turning on each other. That happened today. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. We got it all. So that's there. And I told the bad guys, I said, you're going to look like fools. When I shot these reports last night, close to midnight, I said, you just wait. You just wait. Well, turns out we didn't have to wait too long. So here's part of the Steve Bannon with me co-hosting when this is all going on yesterday morning. And then I'm going to come back, restart, relaunch, and do the broadcast. Here it is.
Thursday, 14 November, year of our Lord 2024. We were going to start with a big presentation about Matt Gaetz and others. But breaking news, yesterday, a historical day. Today, a historical day. It may be the last moments of Alex Jones's massive platform, InfoWars. Let's go. Alex, do we have Alex Jones? Alex, you there?
Paper? All right.
Brother, tell me what's happening, sir.
Thank you, Steve, for getting fired up so quickly in emergency transmission on your end there at thewarroom.org. We are in the literal final minutes, probably. Let me tell you what happened. This is incredible. As you know, federal judge, the U.S. trustee in June tried to shut us down without...
Can y'all send us a solo shot of Bannon?
Since Alex Jones owns Info, there can be a liquidation. They brought in a new trustee, and they said it'll be a public auction on November 13th to the highest bidder. And then the groups we were working with went and filed all the paperwork, put in deposits, proved their credit. And I said, watch, they're going to pull a fast one because that's all that ever happens in the deep state. That's all that's happened in the lawfare against me and you and everybody else in Trump. Then Monday at 3, we get a call and emails from the U.S. trustee and says, now it's different. It's a secret auction, not an online auction with a big company over it. And it's now going to be just envelopes. You have until 10 a.m. yesterday to put them in. The highest bidder gets it, but the U.S. trustee reserves the right to give it to somebody for a lower amount if he chooses. Well, I thought, well, that obviously we know what's happening there. They don't want to be outbid by people that are ready to come in with big money. So we wouldn't be allowed to upbid. How is that an auction, Steve? And it's secret. And they said we can sell it to somebody for less. So I told the crew, that's it. Thursday morning, I said, I would imagine within one day we'll be shut down. Because we've been told by the U.S. trustee months ago, if bad guys got it, you can call them bad guys, but I call them that they had said we want it shut down immediately before there's even a court order, before money is even wired in. Now, if the good guys got it, my buyers, folks I was working with, were told in writing and on record, it would take a month for them if they bought it to get control. But if the other side got it, they were going to get it instantly. So that's this system that's pissed off the American people and caused this giant political awakening and realignment, not just here, but globally, and the giant landslide of President Trump. And so, sure enough, I get a call at 7:37 this morning, or 7:27, and by my lawyers, people who just met with the U.S. trustee in Austin down the road at a hotel conference room, and they said, we're coming to shut it down right now.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's going to be off the air.
You don't need
No hard
to
feelings.
fill that
Want to
part
meet
out.
with Alex Jones
It'll go on
at 8:30 in the
automatically.
morning. I was a mile away. Some of the crew slept here because they knew this was coming. I told them it was. I get here. I go on the air at 8 a.m. And I've been on the air for an hour. They are in building. They told the office manager, and they're calling me right now, that they have ordered the IT providers to cut all the IT off, to shut InfoWars down, Band.video, and to pull the plug on everything right now. And I had the witnesses in here that just were told this by them. I could get with a live camera right now and go show you the U.S. trustee and the auctioneers and all the people here. And so this is historic. They did not buy it. The judge has not certified it. They changed the last minute how the auction worked. This is ridiculous. And so we've set up the Alex Jones Network with great sponsors. As a backup, we have a mini studio. The bigger studio is almost done. It's down the road from these offices. It's owned by other folks. They'll have big trouble shutting that down quick. They'll try. They filed months ago in federal court to own the name of Alex Jones if they were able to buy it. They tried to get it that day with the judge. They actually filed in federal court, the U.S. trustee with the Democratic Party law firms. They said, quote, the 13th Amendment against indentured servitude and slavery does not apply to Mr. Jones. It applies even more to public figures. They said they own my likeness. I did not sign a 360 record deal like Prince did with Sony where they did own his name. You can contract away your rights, but I never did. It's absolutely an affront, 100% ridiculous. It's a giant power grab. The judge shut that down and said, no, I'm not giving you his name and stuff. And real Alex Jones on X, that's his private account. And the judge stopped that. But they wanted that in the takeover that just happened. They said, because their mission is to shut us down, to silence us. I have a short compilation, if we have time, it's 3 minutes long, of them saying that in Connecticut and Texas in the rig court cases where I was found guilty by judges in default, and they had show trials literally scripted and run by HBO with scripts in the judge's hands. And I went there to expose it with show trials, didn't realize it was a complete show trial, the likes of which never been seen in the world, to my knowledge, where it's actually an HBO production run by HBO. They have bitten off way more than they can chew. This is so incredibly historic. The Streisand effect is in maximum effect, and we are victorious. We have forced their hand to do this in an absolutely insane